Imagine a key, a mysterious, magical key that holds the power to change someone's life forever. What if you stumbled upon such a key? Would you use it to rewrite your destiny? Or would it lead you down a path you never imagined? This is the story of Jason, a man at his lowest, and Choi, a shadowy figure whose life intertwines with Jason's in ways neither could predict. In this tale of fate, greed, and redemption, a single key sets off a chain of events that transforms lives. Let's dive into their journey and uncover the secrets of the key that changed everything. At the beginning of the movie, we see a killer who murders a man right in the middle of the street. The killer's name is Choi. Choi's way of working is quite different from other killers, which we'll uncover by the movie's climax. Next, we meet a distressed soul named Jason, who is attempting to hang himself. Just then, his landlord arrives and demands the rent. Jason hasn't paid rent for the past 6 months. Seeing the state of his house, the landlord berates him. At this point, Jason decides, first, I'll clean my house, take a bath, and then die. Jason aspires to be an actor, but his lack of talent has kept him from getting any work. Afterward, he heads to a public bathhouse to bathe. There, he sees Choi washing his hands. Spotting Choi's watch, Jason thinks, this man must be very rich. I wish I were this wealthy. While Choi goes to shower, he slips on the soap, falls headfirst, and loses consciousness. Jason, driven by greed, swaps his locker key with Choi's, placing his belongings in Choi's locker. He then takes all of Choi's possessions and begins to think, before dying, why not live a day in the life of a wealthy man? Jason first goes to his landlord and pays all his rent, even giving a few months' advance. From Choi's suit, he finds a car key. Overjoyed, he starts exploring his newfound wealth. Then, Jason visits his friend, who tells him she's getting married next month. Hearing this, Jason becomes sad as he secretly likes her. He realizes that money cannot change his life completely, so he decides to return everything to Choi. Jason goes to the hospital to return the belongings. He swaps back their possessions, but at that moment, Choi regains consciousness. Choi, suffering from amnesia, asks Jason, the hospital staff called me Jason. Are you here to visit me? Do you know anything about me? Instead of telling the truth, Jason denies knowing him and leaves with Choi's belongings again. After Choi is discharged, he finds himself penniless and unable to pay his hospital bills. A woman named Lena visits him, saying she was the one who brought him to the hospital. Choi starts begging her for money, promising to repay her once he gets some from home. Lena pays his bill but insists on accompanying him to ensure he doesn't run away with her money. Choi checks his documents and finds out he is 32 years old. Lena jokes that they are the same age, though Choi doubts it when looking at his reflection. Meanwhile, Jason, now convinced that fate wants him to have Choi's life, returns to Choi's house. The apartment is beyond Jason's imagination, luxurious and extravagant. Back at what is technically Jason's real house, Choi and Lena are shocked by its dilapidated state. Lena realizes she may never get her money back. Seeing a broken rope, Choi wonders if he had attempted suicide, but cannot remember why. Confused and frustrated, Choi starts meeting neighbors to learn more about himself, but they dismiss him, thinking he's a salesman. However, Choi discovers his impressive combat skills after confronting a rude man, leaving him amazed at his own abilities. Meanwhile, Jason notices a live CCTV feed on Choi's TV, where a woman named Yoon is practicing yoga. He tries changing the channel, but the same feed plays on everyone. Curious, he starts watching the program. On the other hand, Choi continues investigating his past. When he approaches his neighbors for information, they dismiss him. Frustrated, he confronts a passerby, displaying remarkable combat skills he didn't know he possessed. Jason later sees on the CCTV that Yoon is attempting to harm herself. Alarmed, he tries calling the police, but moments later, Yoon seems fine and resumes her actions. Confused, Jason starts questioning what is happening. At the same time, Lena returns to find that Choi has cleaned the house and is writing down everything he remembers about himself in a diary. He discovers he is exceptionally skilled with knives. Lena takes him home to introduce him to her mother, who runs a small restaurant, suggesting they hire him as a chef to recover her money. Meanwhile, Jason, while exploring Choi's house, finds a stash of money and begins spending recklessly. During his search, he discovers a secret room filled with weapons, fake IDs, and passports. He also finds detailed plans written by Choi and mistakenly assumes Choi is an undercover cop assigned to protect Yoon. Determined to take over this responsibility, Jason starts tracking Yoon, believing he must protect her. Jason learns Yoon lives in the same building and begins searching every apartment but fails to find her. When he checks the CCTV again, he hears a loud thud and realizes Yoon lives in the upper floors. He eventually meets her, using the opportunity to build trust. Meanwhile, Choi excels as a chef at Lena's family restaurant, drawing long lines of customers. One night, Choi notices a calendar reminding him to visit Yongsan Station the next day. Believing it will help him recover his memory, he goes there, only to be approached by a man who mistakes him for Jason and takes him to act in a movie. Choi struggles with the role, frustrating the director with his poor acting. Meanwhile, Jason follows Yoon to a hospital, where he discovers a man keeping an eye on her. This terrifies Yoon, and Jason helps her escape. Choi, on the other hand, receives payment for his acting and learns the address of his father, who is actually Jason's father. Curious, Choi visits him and overhears the barber father talking about his son's dream of becoming a famous actor. He learns that despite Jason's struggles, his father believes he will succeed one day. This motivates Choi to resolve that he will become a successful actor. Elsewhere, Yoon is seen packing her belongings, preparing to meet someone on Thursday. However, the person never arrives, and she decides to try again the next week. Meanwhile, Choi starts preparing for his new life by training in acting, improving his dialogue delivery, and working on his fitness. Eventually, Choi gets cast in a fighting scene, playing the bodyguard of the lead actor. He immerses himself so deeply in the character that he begins doing the lead actor's stunts himself, leaving the director impressed. As a result, Choi is promoted to the lead actor's right-hand man, delivering a stellar performance that earns him fame. While Choi's acting career flourishes, Jason and Yoon grow closer, developing feelings for each other without realizing it. However, one day Jason answers a phone call intended for Choi and pretends to be him. The caller reminds Choi about a contract to kill Yoon by the 25th. Jason now realizes Choi isn't a cop but a hitman assigned to kill Yoon. Determined to protect her, Jason starts following Choi to uncover his plans. Unaware of Jason's intentions, Choi assumes Jason is a fan seeking an autograph. Meanwhile, Choi struggles with shooting a romantic scene in the movie and seeks Lena's help for practice. After rehearsing with her, he performs so well the director forgets to call cut. While Choi's life begins falling into place, Yoon waits for someone again, only for Jason to show up and tell her, "The person you're waiting for will never come. Run if you see him." Jason is referring to Choi, but he lies to Yoon, claiming he is a police officer and will protect her at all costs. Meanwhile, the people who hired Choi grow impatient with Yoon's survival. They hire another killer and instruct him to eliminate both Yoon and her newfound boyfriend. Ironically, all the killers in their network report to Choi, so the orders end up with him. Choi, now growing close to Lena's family, spends a memorable day on a picnic with them. On the way back, it starts raining, and a familiar song plays on the radio. This triggers Choi's memory, and he rushes home, finally recalling everything about his life. Checking the CCTV, he realizes that Yoon and Jason are leaving the building together. Choi follows them and confronts them. Jason panics and urges Yoon to run, but Yoon calmly talks to Choi as if she knows him well. Choi explains to Yoon that a contract has been placed not just on her life, but also on Jason's. He insists they leave the country immediately for their safety. Jason, still confused, hesitates and says, "I was planning to die anyway. No one would miss me." But Choi counters, "That's not true. I met your dad. His dream is to see you become a successful actor. You have to live for that." Choi devises a plan to fake both Yoon and Jason's deaths. He tells them, "Tomorrow, we must put on the best performance of our lives. If we fail, they'll hire another killer." That night, Choi visits Lena and tells her, "I'm leaving forever. Everything you think about me is wrong." Lena, realizing her growing feelings for Choi, is heartbroken and storms off. Suspicious, she follows him and sees Choi driving an expensive car, leaving her puzzled about his sudden wealth. The next day, the group waiting for Yoon's death is eager to witness the spectacle. Jason, following Choi's plan, arrives with Yoon and dramatically stabs her in front of everyone. Yoon, a great actress, convincingly pretends to die. Just as Jason is performing his part, Choi arrives and pretends to attack Jason in a heated scuffle. The group observing them hopes that both killers will eliminate each other. Meanwhile, Lena shows up unexpectedly, threatening to ruin Choi's carefully laid out plan. Choi pulls her aside and desperately signals her to leave, but she doesn't understand. Running out of options, Choi signals Jason, who hesitantly stabs Choi as well. At that moment, Yoon, following the plan, drops a large open container over them to simulate their deaths. When the observing group checks the scene, they see what appears to be a lifeless Yoon and severely injured Jason and Choi. To make it more convincing, Jason uses fake blood to enhance the illusion. The group is satisfied, believing the contract is fulfilled, and leaves. Once the group departs, Choi, Jason, and Yoon emerge from hiding, revealing the success of their ruse. Choi explains everything to Lena, including his real identity and his past. He admits he is not 32 years old but 45, leaving Lena shocked as she realizes he's closer to her uncle's age. Lena recollects that Choi still has a romantic scene to film for his movie. Determined, she brings him to the set, where Choi abandons the script and confesses his feelings to Lena instead. Lena finally accepts him, and Choi decides to live with her family, leaving his dangerous past behind. Jason, inspired by his father's dreams, begins pursuing acting seriously. He gets a role alongside Choi in a movie, which happens to be the film the audience is currently watching.